CIO at UC San Diego Health.
We are so excited to be here today. Thank you so much. We want to tell you about something crazy that started about 3 years ago. So in class, we talk to almost all of you all the time. And we're hearing from you about how you've invested tens or hundreds of millions of dollars on your EHR or other technology and how it's not working well for you. 3 years ago next week, we started calling some of our friends with what felt like sort of a crazy idea. We said, we keep hearing about all these clinicians that are frustrated. Maybe there's something that we can do. Maybe we can build a common user experience survey and deploy the same survey out across multiple organizations. Maybe a few dozen will work with us on this.
Exactly. In fact, 4 years ago this week, I left Stanford to join UC San Diego. And starting my clinical work at UC San Diego, I had the immediate impression, even though it was the same vendor system I'd used previously, it felt different, it looked different, the training was different, and it didn't work quite as well for me and some of my colleagues. So I was really excited by the founding of this collaborative because it gave me the opportunity to bring some real benchmark data, not just anecdotal stories, back to my executive team with some data-driven targets for where we could make a difference.
And this group has been amazing at taking the lead and really jumping in to get some data around one of the greatest challenges that we face here in healthcare technology. So let's jump into some of the data. What's really exciting is that rather than just a few dozen organizations in 3 years, we've actually had over 200 organizations send a survey out to all of their providers, and then it's expanded now to nurses and other ancillary care clinicians. And we've collected over 40,000 perspectives from providers, over 130,000 perspectives from clinicians. And let's talk about some of the things that we're learning. Now, this may be a little bit embarrassing being at class. We've done what we've done for over 20 years now. We had these expectations that we knew how this was going to work out. We thought that the technology that you used was going to be really tightly correlated to the experience that you had. And what we found is that there's a lot of other factors that really made a huge difference with your experience with your EHR and other technology. And they're not technology factors. So let's show you something that's really interesting that absolutely is blowing our mind. This is one of the most condensed bar plots you've ever seen in your life. There are over 200 bars on this chart. Each of those bars represents an incredible investment from a provider organization.
$5.
Yours was like 14, right?
$7.
$7. You guys came live. Everybody remember $7 UC San Diego with Epic, right? And huge investments, and this is the percentage of providers in that organization who agree that their EHR enables them to deliver high quality care. Here's what's fascinating. Let's connect these different bars as soon as they come up to the highest and lowest satisfaction organizations using that same EHR. And what you see is that across many of these EHRs, we have 2, 3, 4, or even 5x differences in the percentage of providers who agree that their EHR enables them to deliver high quality care.
So, can CIOs make a difference?
And so it creates a really interesting question, right? I've gotten on the phone with most of these organizations, at least a majority of them, and there's one question, Chris, that we keep getting asked from the organizations down here in the gray, which is it really our job to be responsible not just for deploying this technology, but being responsible for how well it's received, adopted, and even enjoyed by the clinicians that are adopting it? But you're the CIO, not me, so what do you say to that?
Taylor, let me see if I can answer that briefly. Yes, it is your job. It is all of our jobs. And in fact, if you don't think it's your job, we've got a lot of search firms here, and you should probably get your resumes out. If you look at organizations that are doing well, they have leaders that are willing to go to the front lines and make a difference. And the difference between these organizations is typically 3 things. We're going to tell you about those 3 things. Now, of course, I was born in Boston, which pretty much makes me a Pats fan. Unfortunately, they lost on Sunday. But my wife's from Kansas City, which makes her a Chiefs fan, so you can imagine we've got a difficult household.
But we knew that if we put, whatever team we put on this slide was going to lose last week, right? Yeah.
But the important point is CIOs play offense, and there's 3 things that we can do to help make a difference. The first thing is partnering with clinical leadership to set a culture of EHR proficiency. EHR training and proficiency is so critically important that it has an effect years after the initial implementation. And that's where you have the greatest opportunity to make a difference. Now get out your phones, go ahead and download this paper because we paid to make it free. The paper is about data from the Class Arch Collaborative, 40,000 physician users across dozens of different vendors, across 200 organizations. And what was the single factor most highly associated with physician satisfaction? EHR training. The quality of the initial training had a sustained effect for years afterwards. And that's a really, really important finding. It wasn't the size of the IT budget, unfortunately. It wasn't some of the other factors that you might have expected, the size of your application support team. The single most correlated factor was the EHR training quality.
And something that's really exciting is that as we look at these differences, this collaborative is not about just feeling good by being the highest performer here. And one thing that I was really excited about is that Chris and his team were willing to share with all of you this chart of where they are today. Now, this is obviously not where you're going to be tomorrow, right?
No, in fact, this is our initial assessment data, and I was delighted to get this data because it helped us to hotspot, to target the areas that we knew needed the difference. In fact, our colleagues at UCLA, Dr. Mike Pfeffer, my counterpart there, has done a tremendous job, and their initial training helped to create a culture of EHR satisfaction. As you'll find out, they also have a culture of agile governance and a lot of workflow optimization. So we have targeted areas where we have the greatest opportunity, and this data has helped us to do that.
So if you see Michael Pfeffer or Dr. Eric Chang here, go learn from them, because they're doing some amazing things, and there's a lot of other organizations that we can all learn from. Now, some of the organizations that we can learn the most from are organizations who have seen improvements with their EHR satisfaction. This is an interesting chart. We've watched now 22 organizations who have remeasured using the same EHR, and of those 22 organizations, 9 have seen statistically significant improvement in the ratings from the very same individuals over time. We know down to their name, we know it's the same people and their experiences improved. So we've got 9 organizations that are leading the way in helping us learn what are they doing. And I want to talk about one of those organizations right now that plays offense incredibly well. Now, when you see their logo, you know that this is an organization that plays offense, right? They're not just about staying here. Actually, they're trying to put themselves out of business, right? MD Anderson Cancer Center. What's really fun is that we've worked with several organizations where the Arch Collaborative has helped with before and after measurements of changes that they're making. And a lot of those organizations, they do an alpha, we watch the before and after, and then we wait. And we wait. And we wait. While the organization discusses whether they're going to invest in something that the alpha has proven to be very effective. Now, I can't remember exactly how much time it was, but it felt like it was about a week after MD Anderson received the results of some of their alpha efforts, that they got back on the phone with us and said, we're going big. We're taking this everywhere. We're doing this in every department. We're going as fast as we possibly can. That is an organization that is playing offense.
Absolutely. In fact, we took this data, and when I wanted to be at the Arch Collaborative meeting, I stayed back for the executive team budget session. Anita Wilson, our VP of Applications, came to the collaborative, and I used the collaborative data during a tight financial budget year to make the argument we needed an investment. We needed an investment to help with EHR proficiency, with training, with a sprint team modeled after C.T. Lynn's great work at Colorado to help us move the needle, and that's what we're doing now.
So Chris, it's not just proficiency though. There's 2 more points that we're even talking about. Proficiency makes a huge difference.
Point 2, successful organizations have CIOs that help get rid of stupid stuff. Dr. Melinda Ashton, another pediatrician from Hawaii, wrote this great New England Journal of Medicine article about getting rid of stupid stuff. This is an easy one. Set up agile governance that allows you to do things in the system that make a difference for users without going through too many layers of bureaucracy. You might not be able to change the order set easily, but you can definitely change the note templates easily.
You know, this paper has taken healthcare by storm. And it's all based around just one very simple idea. Let's make changes quick to stuff that really should never have been there in the first place. But EHRs are complicated, and that stuff is there, and we've got to make these changes. What we find in the Arch Collaborative is that if you have a governance that is agile enough to make changes, sometimes even without a committee, or sometimes you even trust your physicians enough that you let them make changes to the EHR without getting approval. And when healthcare is as complicated as it is, we can't put everything through a committee. We have to trust those who are working in a lot of our informatics associates. And we find that that drives a lot of success. Now, one organization that we both know that has really learned this is Lehigh Valley.
Lehigh Valley Health Network, hopefully Dr. Mike Manier is in the room. Mike left the UC system to join Lehigh. We miss him at UC Davis, but he's been doing great work there. He achieved HIMSS Level 7 the year after he arrived, and he made investments based on Arch Collaborative data that targeted the emergency department for improvements. What did they find? A net improvement of 52 points, Taylor. Huge difference. So we can make a difference with these 3 points.
And they didn't just do proficiency. They have folks who were on site watching the workflows of these clinicians and then quickly making changes. They were very agile with this group in making some small changes on the software that they already owned. Now, let's talk about point number 3. Successful CIOs care about the workflows. And you can't care about the workflows unless you get out of your office. Successful CIOs and CMIOs get out of their office and they watch what's going on with their clinicians and they assist. They help them move forward. So as we talk about this, a lot of our organizations have implemented what we would call maybe a super user program. We implemented this when we went live, and then we disbanded it because we didn't know how to keep these folks engaged and involved as we move forward.
I just went to a talk this afternoon by Ed Capexi and the children's group at Stanford, and they still have that super user group from Go Live because they've made ongoing investments in it. With UC San Diego, we've built now a team of physicians, many of whom are physician builders, and we can actually correlate our Arch Collaborative data with those specialties where we have invested in physician super users. We have higher scores in the emergency department where Dr. Jim Colleen sees patients. And when we hired an obstetrician, Dr. Erin Gross, she helped lead home for dinner training for all of our OBs and MFMs. And guess what? Our chief medical officer has been practicing there for over 30 years, came to me a few weeks afterwards and he said, Chris, it's really incredible. Not only am I clicking less, but I'm spending more time looking at the patients and less time documenting. And that wasn't because we made changes in the system. It was because we made changes in his workflow. And it's easy to absorb bad habits and make them last 10 years.
And there's a lot of things that you do here. You can help clinicians adopt personalizations. You can watch how they do things. But I want to tell a couple stories. Now, there's somebody here who has done as much for EHR and technology adoption success as anybody that I've ever met. And that's Dr. C.T. Lin. I felt like I had just won the lottery today when I got to sit by Dr. Lin at lunch, just absolutely randomly. And a lot of us have watched what University of Colorado has done as they've made changes, they've measured before and after. Before there was an Arch Collaborative to do this. And it's given all of us, it's emboldened all of us that we can really make a difference. I want to talk about an organization that has learned from UC and what they've done and is copied them. There's a lot of them, but University of Vermont copied what the UC group has done with their sprints, taking some small ambulatory groups and really getting in and watching what they did. And something that I thought Doug Gentile shared with us some of the things that they had done, and a story that just killed me, was they said we got into one of our ambulatory clinics and we realized they had those badges for quick tap in, tap out, getting into the system. And nobody was using them. And they've had them there for 2 years. So we started asking around, we said, why is nobody using these? And they said, well, here's the problem. When they first came up, they realized what happened. When they first came live in that first week, there were some glitches, and then nobody ever used them after that. So it's the same software that you paid for the whole time, and nobody's using it. And all they had to do was come on site, watch what was going on, and then help everybody actually adopt this successfully.
Absolutely. I think we're all copying each other at this point. Our sprint team is composed of 2 trainers, 2 builders, and 2 project managers with expertise in process redesign, and I'm ecstatic about what they're achieving. I'm also ecstatic because I have the privilege of leading the quality department in addition to information technology, and we're laser focused on achieving great quality outcomes. And this year, UC San Diego achieved top 10 in the Vizient benchmark for quality outcomes, and we did it. I told my CEO, we did it because of the investments that we've made in the electronic health record and information technology, which helps to support highly reliable patient care. And it spawned a hypothesis, right? So we looked at the Leapfrog data, and in fact, it turns out that Leapfrog quality outcomes, A ratings with hospitals, are actually associated with EHR user satisfaction in the ARCH Collaborative.
And this shouldn't be a surprise to anyone. Actually, if we saw the opposite, it should make us all nervous.
Exactly. U.S. News, top hospitals are associated with higher EHR user satisfaction.
So let's talk about a measurement that all of us know and has been already talked about some here. CHIME has posted publicly their most wired level 8 and level 9. And so we recently took some of those and mapped those up to the organizations who've already participated. Many of you in the audience today have participated. And guess what? Those of you who are most wired, who are level 9 most wired, tend to have also more successful clinicians who are adopting your technology. When you give them more of the tools, and when you support them well, and when you get better at helping to roll out technology, you see more success.
You do. Successful CIOs play offense. We've told you 3 ways that they do that. They do it with EHR proficiency and training, with agile governance, and with a laser focus on workflow. So, go Pats.
Thank you so much.